So just to recap what we saw tonight on AEW Dynamite, the show opened up basically with Tony Khan doing a pre-tape backstage and very briefly just said he is crowning new Trios champions and an AEW World Champion. The Trios belts would be decided tonight on Dynamite. Best Friends and Orange Cassidy taking on Death Triangle. And we would start the process of a tournament that would culminate at Grand Slam in a couple of weeks where we would crown the new AEW champion. So Danielson is going to face Hangman Page tonight on Dynamite. They have Darby Allin set to face Sammy Guevara on Rampage. Tonight, Danielson defeated Hangman Page clean, and he will now go on to face Jericho in the second round. Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley both got first round buys, kind of like Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania 4, because they are both former AEW champions. And now that Danielson will go on to face Jericho, I think it's pretty obvious that he's going to beat Jericho since Jericho beat him at All Out and move on to the finals. Moxley is awaiting the winner of Guevara and Darby Allin. I fully expect Moxley to beat both of them, and I think we're going to get Danielson and Moxley in the finals once this happens. So that's what AEW has set in place. They removed CM Punk, the Bucks, and Kenny from the AEW intro. Tony Khan never mentioned them by name in his explanation. During our live reaction, granted I was talking a lot, I didn't hear the announcers mention any of these parties by name. If they did, please let me know. AEW even shut down a Max Caster rap tonight, which was really well booked. We even mentioned yesterday or last weekend, oh, wow, can you imagine what Max Caster is going to say on Dynamite? But he comes out to begin his rap and is then interrupted by Swerve Strickland. So AEW did a lot of clever things tonight. They also allowed Jon Moxley to cut a very passionate promo. He seemed very pissed. It had a lot of Rock after Austin took his ball and went home vibes when Rock came out and cut that promo, kind of rallied the troops and rallied the fans. What Moxley was doing felt a lot like that. He came out right after MJF did, who also had a lot of fun with the crowd, kind of pretended to be a babyface for a minute before he totally healed on them and really tried to make his presence known. That's when Moxley came out and said everything that he said. We also got really good wrestling on the show. The trios match was really good. We had a pretty good women's match tonight. The main event between Garcia and Yuta was fantastic, and AEW seemed like they were moving on forward as best as they can, because you can't change what happened. You can't undo what happened on Sunday. So, yes, granted, none of that stuff should have happened, and AEW and Tony Khan especially, and Kenny and the Bucks and Punk and everybody needs to accept their part and the responsibility in this, but at the same time, you can't change it. All you can do is move forward now. So in terms of what Tony Khan did now with the way he made this announcement, he didn't come out in the middle of the ring yelling and screaming and looking crazy like he always did. He kept it short, simple, to the point. It wasn't over animated. It was just a short pre-tape where he let the fans know what was going to happen, and we're going to move on. Sounds like they had an AEW talent meeting today where Chris Jericho kind of emerged as the locker room leader, and Moxley tonight doing and saying what he did on the mic, I think also helped, and I think AEW is trying to move past all of this toxicity in their company, and when you look at AEW, that's all they can do. What did you expect out of them tonight? Tony Khan, in my mind, did everything he should have done. Granted, maybe all the stuff shouldn't have happened to begin with, but I still think the way he handled it, what else was he supposed to do? You combine CM Punk's injury to this as well. Looks like he was going to be not coming back to wrestle anytime soon regardless of this. There was no other option for Tony Khan other than to, at least at the minimum, suspend people. Some people think fired, but at least these people have to be suspended until shit gets worked out, strip everybody of their titles, and he even went as far as to take them out of the intro and make no mention of them on TV. Him handling this any other way could have been bad. Him handling this any other way, like not suspending guys or crowning interim champions or mentioning CM Punk and all of that, would have been viewed as a double standard. Normally after a pay-per-view, the first show after a pay-per-view, what do? You show countless replays of what happened in the main event. They did not show CM Punk beating Jon Moxley. I mentioned myself that it just sucks they had to beat Jon Moxley, because if they didn't, if this would have all happened prior to All Out, and Punk and Moxley then got canceled or scrapped or whatever, at least Moxley remains protected. But this whole nonsense not only caused you to have to beat Moxley clean in a match that I really wish we could take back now, but all you can do is just move forward. It's a shame what happened to Moxley, but at the same time, if anybody can bounce back from this type of stuff, Moxley can. And if CM Punk ever does come back to AEW, I certainly can't see them putting the belt back on him now. I kind of feel like he has to be done, or he eventually will be done, unless cooler heads prevail. Maybe people want releases. Maybe some people want to go to WWE. I have no clue the contractual status of anybody, how much time's left on the Bucks contract, how much time is left on Kenny's contract, how long of a deal Punk signed, probably 3 years. If there are any out clauses in these things at all, if Tony Khan can strip Kenny and the Bucks of the EVP status but keep them on as workers, or get everybody, in a room and agree just to put everything behind them. But even if they're not EVPs anymore, that doesn't mean that Kenny and the Bucks still can't feed these stories about CM Punk. You're going to have to somehow put aside this animosity and try to maybe perhaps make money with this. The only problem is one of these personalities is CM Punk. And if anybody else, as we've seen in the past with Matt Hardy and Edge and Kevin Nash and Ricky Morton and all these weird scenarios where guys have taken personal beefs and used it to make money, I almost feel like it would just be too hard to get done with a personality like CM Punk. And how are you going to be able to work with a guy that just got calling you an empty-headed, brainless fuck, a fucking child, can't manage a target, and just inept and a complete moron in every possible way? It would be hard for me to get over that and put that aside to make money. But if we're talking about millions of dollars here, then I can definitely do it. But can Punk? He's already got millions of dollars. So do the Bucks, apparently. But, CM Punk, is it even worth it to him to do this, or, to make money off of it? It would certainly help AEW if they turn this into an angle. But that's way down the line. We have to find out the status of and severity of Punk's injury, how long he'll even be out. Is Tony Khan suspending these guys temporarily while he decides what to do, or is his mind already made up? Everybody is going to be suspended, fined greatly, and everybody is going to be required to make amends in the locker room, just like Austin was required to do when he came back. Go and approach everybody and tell them you're sorry for what you did to them. And if that's what is done, then everybody can come back and work and resume life as normal. But, that's the minimum punishment. That's the very least they should do. So many people might find that not to be harsh enough, and Punk should be fired. And I'm not even sure if I totally agree with Punk being fired, but I can't disagree with people who feel that way. If you feel that based on what Punk did at that presser, the way he behaved and talked down to executives in the company with your boss sitting right there, in the real world, that would be a fireable offense, yes. So if you feel that way, Greg can't disagree. It's just sad all around that this happened, and it's sad what a hypocrite Punk turns out to look like here. Even if he has like a gripe, and he's got a reason to be a little bit pissed, it's like he's ruined it now. He's in the wrong. Now he's outdone anything that they've done to him, because he just severs ties and has falling outs with everybody, sometimes for the smallest things, like him and Hornswoggle and the phone number or whatever. So Punk comes in, acts like he's all happy to be there, crying upon his return, praising the locker room. He wants to work for them. You should stand by your locker room, your coworkers, even if you don't like them, no matter what, to which Miro laughed out loud at. And then he comes in a year ago to help the company to take it to that next level, and he has the literal exact opposite effect. So sad. So sad. But anyway, that's the deal. That's what we saw tonight on AEW Dynamite.